Hey, Adonai, Maren, Rabbeinu, Melech HaMashiach, Le'elam Vayit. Hey, how are you? Hey. What's going on? What's going on? Yes, sir.
14. What? 14 and old. 14 years old, yo?
Huh?
Since I'm 14, I know.
14 what?
I used to go to the Schultz, Franklin Schultz.
Oh my God, you remember this, huh?
That's how I know you.
He remembers. He's got super bright memory, man. Hey, Adonai, Rabbeinu, Melech HaMashiach, Le'elam Vayit. Hey, Adonai, Rabbeinu, Melech HaMashiach, Le'elam Vayit. Hey, Adonai, Rabbeinu, Melech HaMashiach, Le'elam Vayit. Shabbos, Bahar, בחוקותי. Shabbos Chazak, right? Shabbos Chazak. Yeah, the Melech HaMashiach says, the Torah says, they came to Har Sinai and the Torah was given. The question is, the Torah was given in Midbar Sinai. The Torah makes it a point to say that the Torah was given in Midbar Sinai. The Rebbe focuses on that point to explain why Dafka Midbar Sinai. So Midbar is because the Torah is in the Midbar. Midbar is a Makom Hefker. No one lives in the Midbar. So Hashem wants to say that anyone who wants to come and partake, whatever is in the Midbar is Hefker. So anyone can come and take. The question is, every Jew owns the Torah. Morasha means every Jew owns, even a little boy, even a little infant. The law is that the law is that whatever you inherit, regardless of age and condition, you inherit the whole thing. You don't have to have any preconditions to inherit. You are the heir, you are the heir. You take on everything without any preconditions. So why was the Torah given in Midbar, in the Makom Hefker, in a place that's not owned by anyone, as if to say that it's not owned by the Jewish people, which is not true. It is owned by the Jewish people. Why was it given in a place which shows no ownership? Midbar is Makom Hefker. The Rebbe says, well, to understand this, we have another question. Why does the Torah take the time to mention a specific place that the Torah was given, in a specific place? Torah affects the whole world. Every place in the world. What difference does it make where it would be given? But the Torah makes it a point to say where it was given in Midbar. That shows that it is very important for us to know, in order to receive the Torah, it has to be received in the Midbar. You have to have the condition of a Midbar before you receive the Torah. If not, you cannot receive the Torah.
Right, you can't think of yourself.
And this is going to show us also the effect. Why is it?
Sorry.
No problem.
No, it's no problem.
No, man. We're discussing. It's all discussion. Don't worry about this.
I totally forgot what I was going to say.
So this shows that it has to be the Midbar. If not, we cannot receive the Torah. So the Rebbe says, in order to understand this, what is the whole Indian of Midbar? Why does it have to be in the Midbar?
Hefker.
Malcolm Hefker. The Rebbe goes on to talk about, first of all, we have to know how the Torah is related to the world. What is the relationship of Torah to the world at all? So the Rebbe goes on to say, Torah says in the Pirkei Avos that we're learning the Shabbos, that the world was created by Asar Ma'amaros Nivar. The world was created in Asar Ma'amaros. And on this, the Zohar says, Asara Hakaf Shekel HaKodesh. The Zohar says that 10 were given in the Kaf of Shekel HaKodesh. When the Torah enumerates all the sacrifices of the leaders of the tribes, the Torah says, Asara Kaf for Shekel HaKodesh. The Torah should have said only once, Asara. But the Zohar says, Asara. 10. The 10 Dibros,
Also 10.
Aseret HaDibrot Keneged Asara Mamorot. The 10 Dibros against the 10 Maimaros that the world was created. And what's the point?
10 Maimaros was created.
Yeah, the world was created 10 Maimaros.
So what's 10 and 10?
10 Dibros against equal the 10 Maimaros. In other words, that without the 10 Dibros, yes, the world was created, but without the 10 Dibros, without the Torah, the world would have no meaning. The world would have no meaning. If not for the Torah, the world would have no meaning. Asara Dibrot, Keneged Asara Mamorot. You have to have the Torah. Exactly. That's what he said.
Oh.
Without learning Torah, without teaching Torah, without learning Torah, there is no world. The world has no meaning whatsoever. So the Torah,
No testimony.
Aseret Dibros reveal the truth about the world. The world is really does not exist on its own. The world is not independent, which what it seems to be. It looks like it. It's a facade. It's all disguise. But the world really does not exist on its own. It's not its own entity. The world is led by Hashem. Hashem is the leader of the world. There's a balabais in the world, and it's not on its own. It's not independent. That's what it would be. That's what it would seem to us to be like. That's what it looks like. That's what Hashem wants it to be like. That's what Hashem wants it to look like. But it's not. And how do we reveal this? This is through the 10 Dibros, through the Torah. We reveal all this. We reveal the truth about the world. Then the Mishnah goes on to say, really, the world did not need to be created by the 10 Maimaros. The world could be created by one utterance, one Maimar. That's how the Mishnah goes on. But not, couldn't the world be created by one Maimar? So obviously it could have been. Why was it created with 10? So the Mishnah answers, in order to give a punishment to the Rishayim and a big reward to the Tzaddikim. In other words, you come to the Rasha and tell them, you destroy the world. It was not created with one saying. You destroyed the world that was created with 10 sayings. That's a much greater damage. So in order to make the damage greater, Hashem created the world with 10. And the reward, on the other hand, will also be much greater. The Rebbe says something doesn't really go so smooth over here. If the world could have been created with one, what does that have to do with the Rasha and the Tzaddik, with rewarding and punishing? The world could have been created with one, could have been created with one. That's it. The world is worth one utterance, one maimar.
Wow.
It's like you go to the market and the guy says, it's really worth $1, but I'll sell it to you for 10. What do you mean it's really worth? So for one, it's worth 1. I'll pay you 1. Why should I pay you 10?
Wow.
And that's a question that all the Mefarshim ask. And this is the Chiddush of the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach. You will not find this in any book you'll ever go to. You'll not find this anywhere in the world. Only the Rebbe says this. This is not said anywhere. The Rebbe says, and when the Mishnah says that the world could have been created with one saying, it means that the world was created with one saying. Yeah. Yachol by Yebishti, in other words, by Hashem, if you say that Hashem could have, by Hashem, could have means he did. By us, could have, we don't actually take what's called in Kabbalah, we don't take Yecholis Lepoel. We don't really do if we could do it. If we could do it, we didn't do it, we didn't do it. But Hashem, if you say to Hashem that he could do something, that means he already did it. Because by Hashem, nothing is missing.
If God is able
potential
to destroy the world,
Potential is not lacking the actual. That's what Kabbalah says. Potential by Hashem is not lacking the actual. Hashem is not only in the potential state, but he's in the actual state at the same time.
Right.
So by Hashem, what could have been, it has been. So the world was created by one saying and by 10 sayings. What does that mean that it was created by one saying and 10 sayings? Either or, right? What does that mean? The Rebbe says, one saying created the first material. The material that's equal to all creations of the world. That material is not defined. It's just yesh me'ayin. It's the first material. It's equal by all creations. Could be living, could be inanimate, could be sprout. Whatever it is, it's the first material. It has no shape, it has no form. It's not living. It's not a living entity. It's just the first material from which all the creations will be created later. But it's the first material. It's yesh me'ayin. It's equal by all creations. Even angels. Everything. Spiritual or physical, doesn't matter. It's called yesh me'ayin. With the 10 saying, with the 10 utterances, God created already everything with form and shape. Individuals, you see the animal, you see the vegetation, you see human beings, creatures, inanimate, everything had its own form and shape. So by one saying, when Hashem created the first material, you don't really feel the creations, you only feel Hashem. You see Hashem's power. How Hashem can create something from nothing. Which, by the way, beats out all the notions out there that something had to be created from something. Hashem created something from nothing. From nothing, literally.
There wasn't a Big Bang.
It wasn't a Big Bang theory. They already abandoned that theory many, many years ago. In fact, they waited for those scientists who still held on to it to pass away. And the young scientists came through and said this was just a Big Bang BS. It was nothing. It was just a theory that never really existed.
Big Bang.
Science is merging up with Torah. And the closer we get to Mashiach, the closer science is to merge with Torah, to the fact where science now admits that there is a super power behind everything, and there is something that's giving life to everything, because it's impossible to explain creation without that. Just, there has to be a superpower. That's the last statement science made.
Wow.
So we see how close we are to Mashiach. Science used to be the biggest enemy of Torah. So now the Rebbe says, so with one saying we created one thing, and with 10 utterances we created everything. One maimar, one saying of Hashem shows how Hashem's greatness, that Hashem can create something, but it doesn't show any creations yet. It's just the first material. It's called Chomer Hayul. In Kabbalah, it's called the material from which everything else will be created. That's the first material. That's equal for all creations. Here you don't see any creations. You don't see nothing. You just see a material. Like the, how do you call it in English? Like raw material. Raw material. And then with 10 sayings, he created everything with shape and form. Everything is individualized. So there you see creations. You don't see Hashem. Hashem is disguised. Hashem is in disguise. Hashem is concealed. Hashem is hiding. You don't see. You see a world, but you don't see anything else. But when you see the first material, which we don't know how it looks like or whatever it is, but we know it exists.
Right.
So there you see Hashem's power. You don't really feel the creations. You don't feel the world. You just see Hashem's power. You see something was created, something from nothing. Something from nothing. The Rebbe says, obviously, if this is in the world, so the world came from the Torah. Hashem looked at the Torah and created the world. It must be that one maimar and asar maimaris is in the Torah itself. One maimar, how is it in the Torah? And we're going to find the union of one maimar in the Torah. That will reveal the one maimar in the world. That's how the one maimar in the world was created. The ability to create something from nothing. And then when we find the 10 maimars in the Torah, this will be the source for the 10 maimars in the world. Because everything has to start from the Torah. Torah is the blueprint. Torah is everything, where everything was created from.
Hashem's wisdom.
Whoever says Chassidus. Huh?
Hashem's wisdom.
Hashem himself, exactly. Yeah, that's what he says.
The man himself says it.
He said it.
Right? I know.
Then whoever says that one maimar shows on Hashem, on Bitul, on Hashem Echad. The Torah is one wisdom, like Yosef said, the wisdom of Hashem. Everything is one. There's no division. There's no pluralism. There's nothing else but Hashem. That's one. That's learning Chassidus, learning the esoteric part of the Torah, learning the neshama of the Torah. You see, you feel how Hashem is there. That's the one maimar in the Torah. And then, from that's the source for the one maimar in the world. The 10 maimars in the Torah is when the Torah already descended to the world. 613 mitzvahs. Everything is already divided. Everything is plural. You don't really sense Hashem, Chad v'Shalom, so much. You sense the world more. That's when you learn the nigla of the Torah. So obviously, the Rebbe says there's two different levels of alakus, of godliness, that come to the world, and we want to make dir b'tachtonim. What do? First, we have to connect both. You have to learn Chassidus and nigla. You have to be on a level where you know where it comes from. Like it says, "Bichu b'Torah tchila," they first blessed on the Torah, and they know where the Torah comes from. They sense Hashem, and then they go on and learn the Torah, and then they go on and look in the world, and they act in the world as human beings, do Torah, do mitzvahs, live their daily lives, do everything else they do. They go on about their lives. But first of all, have to know where it all comes from. It comes from Hashem. That's the end of Chassidus, learning of learning Chassidus, learning the neshama of the Torah. The Rebbe says, in the learning that we do every day, we have to combine both. Chas v'shalom, that Bacher or anyone would go and learn Torah with his mindset that, God forbid, there's a world now forgetting about Chas v'shalom, forgetting about who gave the Torah. That's the achana. So, how do we combine both? The Rebbe says you have to take the upper and you have to take the lower and you have to connect the two of them. But you can't do it in a way where the upper will jeopardize or go down from his level down to the lower, connect to it. Or the lower will go up to the upper and try to connect to it, but lose out from its ingredients. It will lose out from his level.
Right.
You have to leave the one below as it is. You have to take the one from the top, from above, as it is. And both of them, connect the both of them with their qualities, but the way they are, not to change or not to take away from what they are.
Right.
The top level, the godliness that shows only in Hashem. Hashem is one. Everything is with Hashem. On the highest level, that has to stay that way, not to, God forbid, take away from them. And people and the world and all the pluralism and everything we see, what else we see in the world, as it is, has to be able to receive that level of godliness and be penetrated with it and not lose out on its own qualities. Stay the way it is and be able to understand the highest level of godliness. Atzmus, that's a dira. A dira is, definition of a dira, of a place for the person to live in, is when the person is, with his entire quality comes in and lives in the dira. That's a dira b'tachtoin. So therefore, the Rebbe says, we do that by learning both Chassidus and Nigla. You're mamshich the bittul, and at the same time, you're able to function in the world the way it is, but be able to connect Hashem to the highest levels as well. This is the Achana to Matan Torah. This is why the Torah was given in the Midbar. We started with the question, why Midbar? It's Makom Hefker. The Jews own the Torah. Why would it be given in a place where there's no ownership? The Jews own the Torah. So the Rebbe says the Midbar shows on a level which is higher than the world, higher than ownership. And if the Jew wants to receive that level of the Torah, he has to be like the Midbar. He has to be like Hefker. Hefker means
He has a big
total bittul.
Right.
That's a Achana to Matan Torah. Total bittul is a Achana to Matan Torah. You want to get Torah, you want to receive the Torah, you have to be in a way of a condition of a Midbar. What is the Midbar? The Rebbe says that you have to know that you are like Hefker. That the Rebbe says the first and foremost condition to be Hefker, to have bittul, is to be shola, to negate any inyan of machlekes, any inyan of the division between one another. Anything that will divide between you and your friend, that's the root of all machlekes, and that's the root of yeshus. You have your yeshus, you have your ego. That's the root of all problems. You're not able to be a keli, you're not a vessel to receive the Torah. You have to be like a midbar.
Wow.
And if you want to grasp on, if you want to grab that level of the Torah, which is above the world, you have to be like the midbar. You have to be like the desert, which is total selflessness. You don't feel yourself, you only feel Hashem. That's the midbar, and then you're able to receive the Torah. So the Rebbe says,
It's not like one moment the world was created, the way we feel the world moment.
exactly, one maimer is the bittul.
And then what's 10?
The 10 is how we feel everybody else, how we have to connect the two. We have to bring bittul to everybody. The way the world is, we have to bring the bittul. We have to bring Hashem into the world. So the Rebbe says, this is what we do in Shavuos. So the Ira from the Sikha is that we
It's like
have...
Hemshech all the weeks we've been saying that you put Hashem into
Right.
the exile.
Right, exactly. It's all connected. It's all
all
on Hemshech,
connected.
right. The Rebbe says, and whoever has the chance to see Rabbi Reuven Wolf, giving a speech.
Oh yeah, we
Last
saw
night,
him.
bro? Huh?
In California?
California.
Oh, I
Yeah, we
listen to
saw
him all
his
the time.
speech.
He's
I
the man.
saw
Good
him last
try.
night. I saw his speech last night in Los
I didn't
Angeles.
see that your
Oh
jacket's
my God!
on
Wow.
the bed.
How
Maybe
he
it's
explains,
He's amazing.
clothes
how
on
he
top.
explains last week's sitter.
But
Rabbi
if
Wolf.
you can give
Whoa.
it to me, I can give it over
How
to
he
the
explains the
dry
sikha
cleaner
from
so
last
they
night, from last
can,
week, in other words.
dry
How
clean
he
it
explains it.
for free because I have
Incredible.
my police permission.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't
Incredible how he explains it.
intentional.
And so he goes on to say, the Rebbe goes on to say, that Shavuos we are doing this very thing. What would we do? We gather everyone. We gather even little babies, little infants. We have to bring to the shul to hear Aseret Sedibros.
Right.
Wow.
Aseret Sedibros. We have to bring everyone. We have to make sure to advertise as much as we can, wherever we can get to.
Where
To
can we
bring
have
kids.
that?
Huh? To bring kids to the shul. To go to people and tell them.
Make an ice cream patty and then the kids
Yeah.
will come.
Yeah, that's
Bring kids to hear Aseret Sedibros. Everyone should participate. Then at the same time that we bring them all, you all come to hear Hashem's Torah, which is one Hashem. So we do both things that we spoke about. We bring the level of Lakus into the world, into us, into the Yidden, and we create Achdus. Yechi Adonai Morenu Rabbeinu Melech HaMashiach. Olam Vayeh. The short sikha. During that time, the Rebbe actually did not really speak so much about Mashiach. During that time, during בחוקותי, that was the week. And actually, during this time, right before Shavuos, the Rebbe said to all the Chabad houses, all the Chabad houses that think that Mashiach is an interruption, or Mashiach is in the way, God forbid, they should take off their banners that say Mashiach now and all that. That was during these 2 weeks.
Why could the Rebbe do it for 2
Because
weeks?
some idiots sat down and wrote the Rebbe that maybe it's going to create Chilul Hashem. So then the Rebbe got up and said,
Or if he speaks about
yeah. They wrote the Rebbe that, and the Rebbe wrote back. So all the shluchim who think it could create problems can take off their banners and say
First of all,
Mashiach.
who would write the letter to the Rebbe telling him to do anything that he's against?
Yeah.
Tell him what to do. Who would write the letter to the Rebbe telling him what to do? You think the Rebbe doesn't know what he's doing?
This was done.
That's crazy.
This was done. I can show it to you. I can show it to you documented right this second.
That's crazy.
I can show you where it says the whole story. I actually spoke to some of these people.
If you have time.
Yeah, you have my phone, yeah?
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh my God, your phone is recording me. I'm saying you have my phone.